Peace, peace, beautiful beings, and welcome back to my channel. I am Coach V, and today we are going to talk about mental health in the media with Lil Boosie. Yes. So if you're new to my channel, as a holistic life coach, I use these segments to offer my perspective on trending news topics and the mental health observations that I make with the parties involved. So when we talk about mental health here on my channel, we're not necessarily talking about an absence of mental illness. We're more so talking about how the persons involved may view themselves, the people around them, and society at large based upon the words they speak and the behavior they display. So let's get into it. Lil Boosie is one of the most outspoken rappers of our time. He's very opinionated, not shy to share his opinions, and he does so very loudly, kind of in your face style. His, I guess, confessional, we could say, of the sexual favors that he bestowed upon his children and possibly nephews while they were minors is shocking, to say the least. But when we talk about him thinking it's okay to behave in that manner, and not only behave in that manner, but tell the world about it, put it on his social media, knowing people are going to pay attention, knowing people are going to pick up, says a couple things from my perspective. When people exhibit look at me behavior, or they feel the need to speak on every single topic, they feel the need to loudly offer their opinions upon us, and a lot of times the opinions are not favorable, those people usually suffer from a level of inadequacy brought about as a child and or an adult. Sometimes it has to do with physical size. That's why the Napoleon complex is a thing. But oftentimes it has to do with some deficiency as far as mental, emotional support and attention. So they are focused on garnering such attention by any means necessary. And usually that means is by a shock factor. Let me be loud. Let me say something completely off the wall, whether I mean it or not. Let me say that and put it on a platform where it can get maximum exposure and maximum impact. When people come from a mentally healthy state, they are able to understand and respect the opinions, the conversation, and the behavior of other people. When I say they're able to respect it, that means they don't necessarily have to agree with the speech or the behavior of the other person. However, and they're not agreeing or agreeing, doesn't matter, they respect that person's choice to do or not do whatever it is they're talking about. There's not a need for a mentally healthy person to bash people's sexual choices, bash their religious choices, have a shock factor when they are talking in public, to draw attention to themselves unnecessarily. When people are mentally healthy, that means that their level of confidence is on point or sociably acceptable. That means that their outlook and opinion about themselves, the people around them, and the community at large is wholesome and healthy. And their judgmental muscle gets exercised minimally. Meaning, you may be doing something or saying something or engaging in an activity that I don't like. But I'm going to let you be you, because that's your truth. I'm not the judge. You have to deal with that. However, if you want to grow, if you want to develop, if you want to heal, I'm here to help you. That's in a nutshell what mentally sound people or mentally healthy people do, think, and say when it comes to their fellow man or woman, or when it comes to society at large. I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, Funky Dineva, and he's one of my favorite YouTubers because he's totally opposite from me. And his intelligence is conveyed very clearly and concisely. A lot of the times in the space that I'm in, I feel that I resonate with a lot of his message. Not necessarily his delivery, but he's super spicy, right? But the message, I'm able to look past the things that I may not agree with and actually just listen to and hear the message. And one of the things he said, I truly agree and resonate with just from my perspective of observing Boosie, Lil Boosie. Funky Dineva indicated that for Lil Boosie to go so hard about the homosexual agenda, or to go so hard about we straight over here, this is what I'm doing for my family members to make sure they stay on the straight and narrow as far as sexual orientation, I agree with Funky Dineva that the behavior Lil Boosie is exhibiting to go so hard to prove the straightness of him and his family members does have an underlying tone or underlying ring of perhaps some sexual trauma or some sexual abuse that he has not sought professional help to heal from and address. So when a person has been in a situation such as sexually abused by someone they trust, got to add that in there, when they feel like they couldn't have saved themselves, they will go super hard above and beyond to save people close to them. So what I mean is this: if in fact Lil Boosie was sexually abused by someone he cared about and he felt helpless, he felt like he told people and maybe they didn't listen, or he was threatened and had to keep it a secret, his behavior of going so hard to protect the men in his family, the young boys in his family, or to steer them in the direction that he wants them to go in, can in fact be indicative of unresolved trauma as a result of sexual abuse. If that's not the case, then there's something else there that's underlying that's allowing him to go so hard in the paint. For example, if someone has a family member that was beaten, that was raped, that was done wrong by an organization, and that person, even if it was them themselves that was beaten, raped, or done wrong by a particular organization, and that person felt helpless to help that family member or felt helpless to help themselves, once they get their bearings back straight, they usually go so hard in the paint to support any organizations that support the cause, to be rape advocates, to be advocates against domestic violence, to go against the organization that let them down, and to spread their message, and to riot, and to picket, and to post on social media, and sometimes to write letters. And if you encounter that person and you are in support of that organization, or you think that rapists just embellish their stories, or you think that people who experience domestic violence had it coming, if you have any ideology that doesn't support their ideology, you're an enemy. You have been pegged as an enemy. And it's simply because they have taken it upon themselves to be the savior for that next person, since they couldn't save themselves. They go super hard. I'm going to call it right now the Batman syndrome. That's what I'm unofficially going to call it, the Batman syndrome. The story of the superhero Batman is his parents were murdered and he was not able to save them. So as a result of him not being able to save his parents, he takes on this persona as a superhero that works hard to eliminate and wipe out any and all crime in Gotham City because he couldn't save his parents. So sometimes it serves as a form of restitution being paid to try to calm and satisfy that person who felt helpless, who may be even feeling guilty, who may be even feeling worthless because they couldn't save either themselves or someone close to them that experienced a similar event. Does that make sense? So maybe there is something there with Lil Boosie that's unresolved and that he chooses to deal with promiscuity, with drinking, with drug abuse, and any other course of action he's choosing that's only hiding and suppressing the symptoms, right? Sometimes people, when they are mentally battling something that they don't want to do, they go super hard in the opposite direction to accumulate their receipts to prove to you, but first and foremost themselves, that they're not that. So in Boosie's situation, it could be that he's sexually promiscuous with women because he is trying to force homosexual thoughts outside of him. Or he is trying to convince the people around him that no matter what I went through as a kid or what the abuse someone did to me as an adult, I'm not that person. I didn't like it. This is not my thing. And I'll tell you why, because I done knocked down 100 women. You know, that mental structure there is indicative of trauma and deep soul work and healing that needs to take place. You can call it PTSD. You can call it anxiety. However, there's something there on a soul molecular level that hasn't been treated or healed. So Lil Boosie's camp, if you are looking for someone who is not in the limelight, who is not a celebrity, who won't tell your business, who is strictly invested in helping you to heal from that traumatic experience, whatever it may be, you can contact me on my website at www.coachvmp.com. Let me know in the comments what you think about the information I shared here in this video. Does it sound like it could be possible? Does it seem like, as Othello said to Desdemona, that Lil Boosie is protesting too much? Let me know in the comments what you think. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and make sure you click the notification bell so that you're one of the first persons to know when I upload new content. The content on my channel is all about mental health and healing without medication. So all the content here will talk about that in some way, shape, form, or fashion. If you haven't heard already, I published my first book, Renew Your Mind, Take Charge of Your Mental Health, 8 Alternative Ways to Improve Your Quality of Life. This is a self-paced, self-help book that shares with you the 8 techniques that I use to take charge of my own mental health and kick depression in the arse after I was diagnosed with the mental illness in 2005. My personal story, I think that instead of being treated for the symptoms of mental illness, I actually needed to do some soul work and healing, and that worked for me. And I shared those techniques here in my book, which is available for only $9.99 the entire month of May in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. I also invite you to follow me on the Instagram, and I will put those links in the description box. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Mental Health in the Media, and I will see you in the next video. Be blessed.